Okay. Better late than never, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We're back. Oh my goodness. Yay! We took off last week. Neither one of us were in the mood. 4th of July week. Just a lot of stuff. I just looked at Ezekiel, and there are 48 chapters in Ezekiel. This may take a while.
Well, thankfully, a couple of them are pretty short. The one that's two is short, is pretty short. So
Yeah. So some of them we may get through a little faster than others, but the way we get sidetracked, it may take all year. It may seriously take all year. We'll just see how it goes. We've been having roofing done here at our house. I think they're off to lunch, or they might have quit for the day today. It's not too terribly hot, but I mean, I definitely don't blame them if they don't want to be up there in the worst of the heat. It's only 93 right now. So,
only 93.
yeah, it's only 93. Any day in the summertime that is under 100 in Oklahoma is great. It just, I mean, when it gets to be 110, 115, then I'm just like, October, come please. I'm thinking we're going to have an early fall because things are ripening early. So the cherries are already ripe, and I guess the peaches, the Colorado peaches, are already getting ripe. So and they're usually not ready till end of August, beginning of September. So I'm hoping that definitely means that we're going to have an early fall.
Yes, let's pray for that. I'm praying for that, and it's not even that hot here. So.
Yeah, I think you've got more humidity though. Ours is only like 32% right now.
Oh gosh, yeah. Ours is like 50% all the time, if not more.
Yeah, humidity. I don't know how people in the humidity. I can't breathe when it's just the heat
all the
index.
time.
No. Yeah, I think the heat index is actually a point lower temperature than the temperature. So I'll take it. Anyway, okay, we were starting with Ezekiel and chapter 2. If you do hear the clunking in the background, I mean, I hope that our audio is good. I will pre-apologize for any audio. It is hot. There are fans running, and I do have roofing going on. So if they come back from a late lunch or something and they end up pounding on my roof, then it needs to be done, and I'm very excited. Other than that, I guess we can get started. Shall I just read through the chapter this time?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll go ahead and screen share so people can read along if they would like to. Let's see. I want to do. Okay. Ezekiel chapter 2. And if you didn't see Ezekiel chapter 1, I think I'm trying to put this in a playlist and in an Ezekiel playlist. So hopefully you can get chapter 1 as well. And he said unto me, Son of man, stand upon thy feet, and I will speak unto thee. And the Spirit entered into me when he spake unto me. And he set me upon my feet, that I heard him that spake unto me. And he said unto me, Son of man, I send thee to the children of Israel, to a rebellious nation that hath rebelled against me. They and their fathers have transgressed against me, even unto this very day. For they are impotent children and stiff-hearted. I do send thee unto them, and thou shalt say unto them, Thus saith the Lord. And they, whether they will hear or whether they will forbear, for they are a rebellious house, yet shall know that there hath been a prophet among them. And thou, son of man, be not afraid of them, neither be afraid of their words, though barriers and thorns be with thee, thou dost dwell among scorpions. Be not afraid of their words, nor be dismayed at their looks, though they be a rebellious house. And thou shalt speak my words unto them, whether they will hear or whether they will forbear, for they are most rebellious. But thou, son of man, hear what I say unto thee. Be not rebellious like that rebellious house. Open thy mouth and eat that I give thee. And when I looked, behold, a hand was sent unto me, and lo, a roll of a book was therein. And he spread it before me, and it was written within and without. And there was written therein lamentations, mourning, and woe.
Well, that's fun.
Isn't it? Well, that's fun. It's like, okay, they're and don't worry about. I mean, does that not kind of sound like what we're going through today?
It really does.
I mean, especially on social media. Well, and it's not just social media; it's out in public too. That I know I am afraid to speak at this point, and it has been since 2020. 2020, I think, hit everybody like, you know. And I was in the media at the time, working for the press, and it became, by the end of 2021, my life was in danger. I'll just put it that way. And anything that I said could be taken badly.
Yeah.
And that's where we're at now. You don't know. I mean, it's kind of to the point that an emoji can get you in trouble.
Right? That is so true. Yeah, it's always like, how do I respond to this? Or do I just nod because I don't want it to be mistaken?
Yeah, and I don't want to lose my boldness and my courage. You know,
Right.
I want to be courageous in my faith, and I always have been. But at the same time, it's gotten to the point that you really don't know what's going to set a person off.
It's true. And I think it's even harder when you're dealing with people who call themselves believers, call themselves Christians, call themselves church people, whatever, whatever. And you're like, I'm not saying this. I'm just telling you what's in the Bible. Like, it's like this. It's not even me saying it. And I'm not going around saying, thus saith the Lord, for something that's not in the Bible. Yeah. Like, I'm just like,
I know.
look at that text.
I know. God's like telling him, you're going to go to them and you're going to say, thus saith the Lord. And anytime somebody says that to me, I'm like backing off. Whoa. Is lightning fixing to strike? Is this new year or what?
Oh, but it does feel like that because he's like, look at how it ends, like lamentation and mourning and woe. I mean, is that not how we felt the last 4 years? Is that not what continues to be? What we continue to hear about?
In all circles.
Yes.
Even people who are trying their utmost to be careful about what they're saying and to not be triggering and all of that kind of stuff. Even those people who are really trying to fall in line with this stuff, they're eating each other alive. In the church, out of the church, people who have like grown up in the church and are rebelling against the church, And I'm not talking about ones that, you know, the whole deconstruction thing. There's kind of two different deconstructions. There's a deconstruction where you are rebelling and you're trying to pick apart everything you've been taught about God. And then there is a deconstruction of trying to remove the man rule from the God rule thing,
Yeah.
you know? And
well, it's almost like a deconstruction versus a reconstruction, because like one is trying to destroy, the other is trying to
remodel.
rebuild. Like, remodel.
Yeah.
That's
Remodel.
a good.
Yeah. Some are trying to rebel and some are trying to remodel, you know, and go back to or what is it that whenever you take like an old house and you're trying to restore, you know, not just remodel, because you're not trying to update, but you're trying to restore it back to the original.
Basically what we did to our house in Louisville, we took it down to the bones and like
I would love to do that with this. Yeah.
Yes, it's when it's like it's like it's because it's more than a remodel. Is it a reconstruction? I guess, is that what you said?
Yeah, I think it is a reconstruction.
Is that
yeah. Anyway, you know, the people that are trying to do it out of rebellion, you know, they want to like reject anything quote unquote Christian.
Mm-hmm.
And they're throwing the baby out with the bathwater. And anything that they think is Christian, they're trying to reject. And unfortunately, those of us who are trying to, you know, restore things back to original church, what God originally meant for the church to be, we're sitting here, but you know, you're rebelling against things that were never meant to be in the church in the first place. You know, some of the young people I know, I've had, they'll like, well, the Bible says such and so, and I'm like, whoa, really? Where does it say that in the Bible? You know, and it's because they've been taught something in church. They assume it says that in the Bible, but they've never looked it up themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, if you're deconstructing, then go back to the Bible and find out if what you were taught was actually what was in there before you reject it. You know, you can reject the people that push things off on you. You can reject ideals that you're not, you know, that you're not comfortable with. You can do all of that, but go back to the Bible and make sure they were telling the truth in the first place, because so many of those people, they have no idea what the Bible actually says, but they blame everything on it.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, and it's because they're trusting that they've been taught correctly by someone who thought they were taught correctly, and they were taught correctly. Because even you read the words and you read the same words, and it's like all of a sudden when you put it in context, you're like, wait, if you read this by itself, it means that. But if you put it in the whole of context, then that's not really what it means. That's not really what it's saying. Yeah. And that's a lot of it. That I keep finding. I'm like, whoa,
you realize just because somebody used the Bible for the wrong reasons, you know, some people will use the Bible to be abusive, you know, and things like that. The Bible doesn't say to do, because they use that as, you know, used it for a reason to be abusive or use that as a reason to hurt you. The Bible didn't do that. That person did. And so many times, instead of wanting to blame that person, people will turn around and blame the Bible or the church or whatever. And it's like, no, put blame where blame is due. If somebody's done something wrong, if somebody has misrepresented God or the Bible, then I don't care how much you love that person, you need to call them out.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's so much, it's really, and I'm sure it's because it's a lot easier to blame something that's like outside of that, because the person.
Some people will actually use the Bible because they've been treated like that. Hello, 50 plus plans. some people will use the Bible because the Bible's been used against them. They will turn around and reject everything in the Bible in order to hurt that person back.
I can see that.
And it's like, two wrongs don't make a right. It's just seriously, that's what it is. Two wrongs don't make a right. Because somebody's been Bible thumping you doesn't mean turning around and smacking them with the Bible or tearing their Bible up.
Yeah.
To hurt them. We always, whenever we lash out at people like that, we always end up hurting ourselves.
Yes, that is absolutely true.
Yeah. So.
Well, it's because revenge is mine, thus saith the Lord. Like that's not our job.
It's not our job. And revenge and bitterness and rebellion and all those things, those are hard on your body. That causes you stress. It causes stress. It causes drama. Ain't nobody got time for that stuff. Ain't nobody got the energy for that stuff. Ain't nobody got, the health for that kind of stuff right now. We got enough against us. We don't need that.
Yeah, that is absolutely true.
Man. Okay. Well, since chapter 2 was so encouraging. Wow. Let's see, you read out of the NASB, don't you?
I do.
Okay. Let me pull that up because I think that's confusing whenever I've got King James on here and okay. I'm reading King James in.
So I can grab a King James if I need to.
I mean, they can get a kick out of me trying to read King James in Oklahoma. I did hear somebody doing Shakespeare in cowboy in hick talk, Yes. Great. It was great. It was, I'm like, but I think part of the reason that I like that is because that's how I've grown up with Shakespeare. Just because everybody out here hick talks it. So
yeah.
Is Jesus home? Well, maybe. If you've invited him into your heart, pseudo history, then he may be home. Yeah. If not, then you might want to seek him. Okay. I never know with a name like that if it's just a troll wanting to make trouble or if it's somebody who's being really interested in the subject.
Yeah. All right. Are we ready? All right. Then he said to me, Son of man, eat what you find. Eat the scroll and go. Speak to the house of Israel. So I opened my mouth, and he fed me this scroll. He said to me, Son of man, feed your stomach and fill your body with this scroll, which I am giving you. Then I ate it, and it was sweet as honey in my mouth. Then he said to me, Son of man, go to the house of Israel and speak my words. Speak my words to them, for you are not being sent to a people of unintelligible speech or difficult language, but to the house of Israel, nor to many peoples of unintelligible speak or difficult language, whose words you cannot understand, but I have sent you to them who should listen to you. Yet the house of Israel will not be willing to listen to you, since they are not willing to listen to me. Surely the whole house of Israel is stubborn and obstinate. Behold, I have made your face as hard as their faces, and your forehead as hard as their foreheads. Like emery, harder than flint, I have made your forehead. Do not be afraid of them, or be dismayed before them, though they are a rebellious house. Moreover, he said to me, Son of man, take into your heart all my words, which I will speak to you, and listen closely. Go to the exiles, to the sons of your people, and speak to them, and tell them whether they listen or not. Thus says the Lord God. Then the Spirit lifted me up, and I heard a great rumbling sound behind me. Blessed be the glory of Jehovah in his place. And I heard the sound of the wings of the living beings, touching one another, the sound of the wheels beside them, even a great rumbling sound. So the Spirit lifted me up and took me away, and I went embittered in the rage of my spirit and the hand of the Lord was strong on me. Then I came to the exiles who lived beside the river Chebar at Tel Aviv, and I sat there 7 days where they were living, causing consternation among them. At the end of the 7 days, the word of the Lord came to me, saying, Son of man, I have appointed you as a watchman to the house of Israel. Whenever you hear a word from my mouth, warn them from me. When I say to the wicked, you will surely die, and do not warn him or speak out to warn the wicked from his way, that he may live, that wicked man shall die in his iniquity, but his blood I will require at your hand. Yet if you have warned the wicked, and he does not return from his wickedness or from his wicked way, he shall die in his iniquity, but you have delivered yourself. Again, when a righteous man turns away from his righteousness and commits iniquity, and I place an obstacle before him, he will die. Since you have not warned him, he shall die in his sin, and his righteous deeds which he has done shall not be remembered, but his blood I will require at your hand. However, if you have warned the righteous man that the righteous should not sin, and he does not sin, he shall surely live, because he took warning, and you have delivered yourself. The hand of Jehovah was on me there, and he said to me, Get up, go out to the plain, and there I will speak to you. So I got up and went out to the plain, and behold, the glory of the Lord was standing there, like the glory I saw at the river Chebar, and I fell on my face. The Spirit then entered me and made me stand on my feet, and he spoke with me and said to me, Go, shut yourself up in your house. As for you, son of man, they will put ropes on you and bind you with them, so that you cannot go out among them. Moreover, I will make your tongue stick to the roof of your mouth, so that you will be mute and cannot be a man who rebukes them, for they are a rebellious house. But when I speak to you, I will open your mouth, and you will say to him, Thus says the Lord God, He who hears, let him hear, and he who refuses, let him refuse, for they are a rebellious house. This is the word of the Lord.
Wow.
Oh my goodness, there's so much. I have so much running through my head as I was reading.
Yeah. That was still a little bit different. What year is your NASB?
Probably 95.
Huh. So they've updated. You said recently that they updated.
Yeah, I've had this one for a while. So, yeah, it's 95. And the online ones, they update like that.
Right. Yeah, I didn't see anything that was way out of.
And I've got a bunch of notes too that, like, when you start looking at the literal, you're like, what? So.
Yeah. Well, what are your thoughts?
Well, first you immediately see the parallel to Revelation and the little scroll that John is given of, like, to speak these words.
Wasn't Isaiah told to eat a scroll too?
I think his was coal, but he may have had a scroll too.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It may have been both.
Hi, Samantha. And then I'm trying to remember how Enoch did as well.
I don't know. I haven't read that yet. So. Say if you remember. Well, I find it interesting because the literalness here, when it's talking about the unintelligible speak or difficult language, it says a deepness of lip and heaviness of tongue is what it says the literal translation means. So basically, he said, like, their language, like, there's, like, all these languages, I guess, around them that are just, like, vastly different than the language of the people of Israel, which is just, like, really interesting. Because he's just saying, I'm going to this house. Like, I know you. And, like, this language, these, like, you're going to people who know me, basically. Like, they know me, they know my language, they know this. And I think in somewhat I feel that today of just, like, I'm talking to people who speak English, but sometimes I feel like we're not speaking the same language, you know?
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Especially, I mean, the language, people have really tried to change it here lately. And we've looked up some things like the word nice doesn't mean what you think it means. The word bully doesn't mean what you think it means. The word glamour doesn't mean what you think it means. I mean, there are so many things.
Oh, I missed that one.
Glamour means illusion. It means illusion. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. I can go into deep there. The Zephyr, now you see TV, actually, the guy that, I think that's the one that the guy did, and they used to have him on as a guest. And after they had him on for a while, and I never could listen to him. It's like they would have him on, they would be interviewing him and talking about that Bible. And I just told my husband, I felt terrible because I'm like, I can't watch these. There's something about this man that just really bothers me. And they ended up finding out something about him. Dr. Stephen Pigeon, yes. And they took down all of those videos and they no longer suggest that Bible. And I don't think that's the one we've got. We've got a Hebrew-based Bible, and I can't remember which one it is. And then I have a Hebrew keyword study Bible, and I think it's King James. But I like the research that these people do in these, but I'm just careful about it. But it's neat that it has the Book of Enoch. I wonder if he translated it himself or if he used somebody else's translation of Enoch. Because there's two different translations of Enoch. There's the Lumpkin translation and there's the other one. I can't remember what the other one was. Christopher something, isn't it? No. Anyway, I can't remember which one I've got because I've got the Skywatch TV versions of the Apocrypha and the extracurricular books. Let's see. No one is supposed to be reading the book of Revelation. It's a spoiler alert, like reading ahead in a book club. Well, I'm sorry. I am the type of person to go to the end of the book and read the end first. No reading ahead. We're already in trouble on that one.
Yeah, I've been studying that for a long time. In fact, we were reading that as a family during 2020.
Yeah. And I don't remember specifically what it is. I've slept a few times since then, and I've got mom brain. I swear to you, the children suck the brains out of you while you're pregnant. And so I don't remember specifically what it was that they found that he was into Kabbalistic teachings, and he put some Kabbalistic stuff in the book, is what I think it was. But they did a public apology about it and everything. I don't know how easy it would be to find that. I don't know. But I just always, if you're going to use something other than King James, I always suggest to compare it to the King James. And of course, we've got the lexicons that you can look things up in the lexicon and get. But the lexicon, the one with Bible Hub, they use the NASB.
Mm-hmm.
And
but the concordance is King James, so it's a good
and the concordance,
that's why I like that.
Yeah, so unless you learn Greek and Hebrew yourself, which I haven't got there yet, then going back and forth between them does kind of help, and it gives you a lot of. I mean, I'll pull this up. You guys need to be really, really proud of Shelly with There's No Place Like Home, because she's learning how to use StreamYard, where she can do this kind of stuff and show you guys things a little bit easier. on her screen, and she has been very intimidated. So everybody give her happiness for trying, because it's taken a lot of talking her into trying some of this stuff. Yeah, I mean, you can go in here like this one right here. It says this, and it's like, where are they getting that? Okay, and this is just, you would think this is a very simple word, right? But it tells you from the concordance what, where else it's found and how it's used in different places. With me is God, so it's like a proper name. This, and it's translated as this, but it's actually a proper name. So isn't that odd? And so just knowing that, the scroll,
Nagila, yeah.
Nagila. And that definitely, that's all it means, is scroll.
Yep.
So it's translated as scroll volume, like a volume of a book, or roll. So it's neat to see how it's translated different ways throughout here, because these would be, a lot of them, historic translations. And then it is giving you the Hebrew and the King James and stuff, so you can compare. So that makes it really nice. Let's see. Was there anything particular in chapter 3 that you were thinking?
Well, I mean, I was thinking about the conversation we were just having about what to say, what not to say. And right here in 18 through 21, it's like, if you warn them and they continue on, like, their blood is on their hands. But if you do not warn them, their blood is on your hands. And I'm like, oh, that hits a little hard right now. As we're trying to wrestle through, like, what to say, what not to say, and how to warn people in the love, right? Because it does say you call out things in love, not like, how dare you, But
yeah,
I think we kind of got our answer right there, Dawnita, what we were just saying. Like, how do we say it? Well, we say it. We say it, we learn, and we ask God to teach us how to say it in love.
We want to, yeah, we want to say it in love. Yeah. I wish to know how to research cipher pigeon thing. What is the name of the place who had him as a guest teacher and then canceled him? Oh, I'm sorry. Samantha, it's NYSTV. Are you in my community? Because that is something that we could dig into my community. I would definitely, I'll make a note. I can find something to write on. Okay. Stephen Pittman. Okay. Okay. I will look those up. In my community, let's see. If you type in, well, actually, I think it's, yeah, this is what it is, but I'm trying to, what is an easy way for you to find it? I need to screen share again. And you're fixing to start a community too, aren't you, Emmie?
Yes, I am. I'm not quite there yet, but yes, it is in the works, getting all of our stuff built out.
Because we're trying to get away from so if you go to prairiedusttrail.com, if you sit there and wait for this, it'll go through it and it'll go through the community. But if you go down here, it should be here. And it's not. Of course it's not. Blast it. It's right. Group. Okay. So if you wait for the Prairie Dust Trail thing, the thing to go through, the slideshow. Oh, words. Oh my goodness. the slideshow to go through and go to group, then this isn't censored, and we can have all the conversations we want to about whatever here. We're being polite and considerate, of course, but it's not censored. So I would love to have you over here, and we will have some conversations. I just try to be careful not to, like, I don't want to put anybody down, online, and because there's always two sides to every story, you know what I'm saying? So I'm God will judge. I don't need to. So let's see. You type the name of the place. Okay. NYSTV. Oops. Wait. There you go. That should help you. Okay. Yeah, I agree that definitely adamant here. You need to tell people the truth, period.
Yeah.
And I felt like, well, I was working for the newspaper, people, you're welcome. People have to decide what the truth is for themselves.
Yes,
to do.
That's true.
Because God leads us all in different ways and at different speeds. He knows what each one of us can handle based on the circumstances that he has brought us through, right? So as far as truth is concerned, that's not my job. That's his. But giving the facts is what we need to concentrate on. And I think that's the big problem that we're having with the social media outlets and platforms and everything. And the search engines and practically everything at this point, even Patreon is jumping on the bandwagon of they want to decide what are actual facts and what's not. Every time I go to monetize a video on YouTube, I have to go through a whole questionnaire thing, and it asks, is anything that you're talking about controversial? Well, in this day and age, anything can be stinking controversial. And I click no because I want to be monetized. I would like to be able to pay the electric bill, right? And so far, I haven't got a check yet. I've been monetized since the beginning of the year, and I have not got anything yet. But here's hoping, that I'll be able to pay a bill with it one of these days. But, we do need to have discernment. We need to ask the Lord, help, Lord, give me the words to say, because if I say it out of my mouth, I'm going to get snarky and sarcastic, and I'm going to high five.
Yes, that's actually always been my issue. But but reading this, okay, right? So, I mean, God right now isn't necessarily handing us a physical scroll to put in our mouths and eat, but we at least have this, right? So we're like, okay. So I'm just going to say what the words of God say. I'm going to say what God has taught me through it, and then just leave it at that, because, and then, the people that you can go further with, but.
Yeah, especially whenever you're talking about a language that has been so messed up. Like I said, the word nice does not mean what we think it means. Mm-hmm. The word fully does not mean what we think it means. They're like opposites of each other. Is what they
I keep catching myself using nice, and I'm like, wait, I mean,
and it's hard to change once you realize. And like the word glamour doesn't mean, it means illusion, which actually makes sense, right?
It does. It absolutely does.
It actually makes sense. So, person, place, thing, or action, right? Exactly. It's so hard to know what it is we're actually saying, and we're trying to, and then we've got spelling in English where it's, and the casting and all of the things. We've got so many things wrong with our language. So many issues, so many things wrong that we, on one hand, we do want to be careful in what we're saying. On the other hand, we do want to give people the facts. And then you also want, I think at this point, it's just reminding people, and especially people who say, well, the Bible's so boring or whatever. And it's like, I know. I'm
like in Second Kings, and I'm like, how is this boring? I'm like, what? I didn't even catch that last time. They did what?
Yeah, I'm like, well, you obviously haven't got into it. Don't try to do the read the Bible a year thing. If you're thinking it's boring, that's going to make it boring. No, you've got to look at it as an adventure, but you've got like the book of Revelation. People have been scared of that up until recently.
Mm-hmm.
People have been scared of it. And it's like at that very first verse is a blessing for either reading or listening to it being read.
Yep, that's exactly why we made a study guide questions for families, because we're like, you need to get in this book because it says there's blessing for reading it.
Yeah, yeah. And yes, it's weird. I mean, that's part of the fun of it, as far as I'm concerned.
Oh my goodness! When one of my sons drew the locusts that come up out of the ground, I was like, oh my gosh, it was terrifying. It was such a good drawing.
That's like whenever I and we enter the county fair and she takes her art, and I'll be standing there with the little old ladies and we're all admiring the art on the wall, and there's my daughters and she's got these bloody horses and things. I mean, just gory stuff, but she's learned anatomy and things, and that's part of that comes out of that. So she's got bones and things, and she has done the 4 horses of the apocalypse. She had a whole set. And the little ladies will be saying, I'm just trying to kind of feel it out. What are they? I'm not going to admit that those are my daughters. But it's funny because those older ladies are like, my goodness, that is so interesting. And I'm like, I'm glad you think so. I don't know that girl.
That's hilarious. Oh my goodness. But yeah, it is fun. It's fun to read. It's fun to look at what's going on in the world and going like, okay, so is this lining up? And then like Ezekiel too, like we haven't gotten that far into it, but there's definitely things in Ezekiel that parallel, and Isaiah, Jeremiah, Daniel, duh. Like,
and when you start looking at what how other people have applied it or interpreted it, and you start looking at some of the historical stuff and how they make the connections, like with the Anunnaki stuff and things like that, it's like, ooh, actually, if we're talking Bible and we look at some of this, what could it actually be? And try to have that critical thinking going on, and saying, okay, this is the fact. The Bible says this.
Mm-hmm.
And then this is a fact. This is what's been found in iniquity.
Yeah. Antiquity.
Like I said, words. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, those are pretty different there.
Antiquity, and that's a fact, and then taking those 2 facts and trying to figure out how they correlate to each other.
Yeah.
And it could be crazy fun. It really can be.
And it's like when I like learning about like more about the Nephilim, like actually like getting into that and understanding that, it all of a sudden brought everything that happened when Israel conquered all these lands like into like, oh, because that's what he's like. He said, don't go after Esau and Edom, your brother. Don't go after Egypt because you were, whatever there. But like all these lands,
and it
like
answers the whole genocide question. If God is a God of love, why did He insist on genocide? And it's like to save people.
Mm-hmm.
And when you can say it that way, why do we go to war? well, that's a whole nother thing, but the idea
The
is
idea.
if you get into a fight, you're getting into a fight in order to save someone.
Yeah.
If you see me in a fist fight, it's going to be because I'm taking up for somebody else. Usually.
Yes. Yep.
So not that I get into that many fist fights anymore, but I do. So yeah, it's interesting. It's there's so many things.
There are.
Do we dare do another chapter?
Well, 4 is about 17 verses. So
That's not bad.
it's not bad.
The siege of Jerusalem predicted.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You want to read or you want me to? I could read the first 6 and then
Okay.
you read the rest of it. Okay.
You can do that.
Now you, son of man, get yourself a brick, place it before you, and inscribe a city on it, Jerusalem. Then lay siege against it. Build a siege wall, pile up an assault camp, set up camps, and place battering rams against it all around. Then get yourself an iron plate and set it up as an iron wall between yourself and the city, and direct your face toward it so that it is under siege, and besiege it. This will be a sign to the house of Israel.
Mm-hmm.
Then you are to lie down on your left side and put the wrongdoing of the house of Israel on it, for the number of days that you lie on it. For I have assigned you a number of days corresponding to the years of their wrongdoing, 390 days. So you shall bear the wrongdoing of the house of Israel. When you have completed these days, you shall lie down a second time, but on your right side, and bear the wrongdoing of the house of Judah. I have assigned it to you for 40 days, a day for each year, which is 40 years. Then you shall direct your face toward the siege of Jerusalem with your arm bared and prophesy against it. Now behold, I will put ropes around you so that you cannot turn from your one side to your other until you have completed the days of your siege.
But as for you, take wheat, barley, beans, lentil, millet, and spelt. Put them in one vessel and make them into bread for yourself. You shall eat it according to the number of the days that you lie on your side, 390 days. Your food which you eat shall be 20 shekels a day by weight. You shall eat it from time to time. The water you drink shall be the 6th part of a hin by measure. You shall drink it from time to time. You shall eat it as a barley cake, having baked it in their sight over human dung. And then said the Lord, thus will be the sons of Israel eat their bread unclean. Thus will the sons of Israel eat their bread unclean among the nations where I will banish them. But I said, Lord God, behold, I have never been defiled, for from my youth until now I have never eaten what died of itself, or was torn by beast, nor has any unclean meat ever entered my mouth. Then he said to me, see, I will give you cow's dung in place of human dung, over which you will prepare your bread. Moreover, he said to me, Son of man, behold, I am going to break the staff of bread in Jerusalem, and they will eat bread by weight and with anxiety, and drink water by measure and in horror, because bread and water will be scarce, and they will be appalled with one another and waste away in their iniquity.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So, sorry, I didn't have the screen share on at the same time whenever I was reading mine, and then I remembered. So, this would be a great homeschool project
Yes.
to have the children, like, okay, here's what we need. We need a brick. We need this. We need that. You can lay down for the 390 days or anything, but, just to kind of look what he had to do, like, to physically show what was happening. It just, and the idea that God found this so important that he was supposed to go, to the city and do this in front of all the people. And he had to just look like a crazy person,
Yes, he probably did.
And then to just, yeah. And I think it's also a good thing to look at, to say he questioned God.
Yes, he did.
He said, "Oh my goodness, Lord, I have never done anything like this before." And he was questioning the cooking it over human poo. So God was like, "I will give you cow patties to cook it over." And oh, Emmie, you are coming to visit. I wonder. No, I don't think you'll be here in time. We have an international cow pie throwing contest.
No.
We do. We do.
That's so funny.
In Beaver, Oklahoma, there is a national I have to say international, because we have people that come from all over the world to do the cow pie throwing contest. And
Wow.
Emmie's going to be coming to visit me this fall, but I think she's going to miss that. But yeah, we will take you over there and show you the big beaver with the cow pie.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Oh, my boys will think that's hilarious. I would say too that I think it's really because one of these things that can sometimes be really easy to miss because it's not exactly a direct correlation, but also you're seeing the promise of the Messiah here too, because he is doing this to take the iniquity of Israel and Judah, like as a representation, which eventually Messiah will come and take the iniquity of all of his people. So I find it really interesting. There's like this parallel here because he's laying on his side. They're saying to take the iniquity, right? Like to bear the iniquity for the number of days for Israel and then for Judah. And I think that's really interesting. Because obviously we know this doesn't save them, but it's pointing to the coming of the Messiah, who will shed his blood in order to cover their iniquity.
Yeah, yeah. And then don't you imagine the people who did listen and paid attention to him and felt bad about what he was going through and tried to learn something from it.
Right.
Because I can tell you right here and right now, if there's some strange man in the street doing strange things with bricks and stuff, my husband and I are going to be the first ones there that are going to be, "Hey, dude, what's going on? Do you need something?" You know what I'm saying? Where most people are going to avoid him, call the police on him. We would be trying to figure out what the story is, story is, and whenever the Lord, anytime I have any kind of, and I'm a confrontational person, I'm not a non-confrontational person. I am a confrontational person, and I like a good debate. So, but at any time that somebody points something out that I'm legitimately wrong, and the Lord shows me where I was wrong, I am happy to, I'm going to repent. And okay, what do I need to do to change? Right?
Yeah.
And anytime there is a conflict or anything, that's what I want to do. Okay, am I the one that is in the wrong in this, and do I need to change? And that's usually where more conflict happens, because I'm willing to meet the confrontation and say, okay, what did I do wrong and what do I need to fix to make this better, you know? Okay, Samantha said, another version says, God told him to bake it with dung. King James. Okay. Let's see. What verse was that?
She said 412.
12. Yeah, okay. So 412. I'll screen share this again. It always takes so many clicks for me to get over. Okay, 4, and then we're going to go to 412, and we'll just see what it actually says. In this one, bake, having baked. Ugh.
That is really funny. And that's the only time it's used in Hebrew. That word is used.
Oh, that is interesting. And it
That's
just
really
means baked or to bake. It's a new form of aga. Oog.
Yeah. It's like there's a pronunciation.
Okay, ooga. There we go. There's several places that it is.
Okay.
A disc or a cake of bread.
Okay.
Bread cakes. Pancake. Except they're baked. That's interesting.
It is.
Cakes of dough. Unleavened. Oh no, it's just.
It's just cakes.
Yeah. So we're talking like pita bread, tortillas, pancakes, something like that. I mean, pancakes are actually more baking powder than leavening, but
yeah. Also, I was thinking about like in Genesis when they're like, "Go make some cakes," and it's like, and he says like oil and water, but I think it was a little further down with dung versus over dung was what she was comparing.
Oh, the dung part of it?
Like the with versus over.
Okay.
And I was like, I don't have a note for that. Mine is usually pretty good at making a note if there's a strong discrepancy. So yeah, that would be.
Oh, what did I do?
But that's that's the word dung. Okay, so
that's the word dung.
But then above it says over human. It's so
to bake.
Yeah, it's so it's to eat barley. I'm like reading it literally. To eat barley, what?
Yeah,
to eat barley cake, to bake an eye
in their sight. Okay.
Yeah, so an eye, man dung. So yeah, it's hard to say because this is the problem with trying to go from Hebrew or Greek to English is the way they form their words is completely different. Like ours are all separate, theirs are all in one. My husband's really good at Greek or Hebrew.
Yeah, it's like trying to translate a poem.
Yeah.
Because it's poetic. It's a poetic language. And so, yeah. It's hard to.
So yeah, it would be one of the. We need to find someone who speaks.
But I mean,
really
people out here. I'm kind of going from the Israel looks a lot like the Oklahoma and Texas Panhandle. It does, okay, and so I'm going on. How did people live out here in pioneer days? They did dugouts. They built dugouts into the ground. To live in, and because there weren't a lot of trees for log cabins, and they used the buffalo, the bison dung for firewood because there's not a lot of trees out here. This is the Great Plains. There's not a lot of trees out here. So what do you use? You can't. A sod house you can only go so far up. So you dug down into the ground and then you built the sod up around that, and you used the sod for bricks. And then, whereas like in Ireland, they dry out the sod. What do they call that? That they dry out the sod and they use that to cook with. They use that to burn it. I can't remember what they call it, but it's sod. I mean, that's what it is. It's the like the roots of the grass and stuff. Is you get that like bricks of it. You dig it up.
Yeah.
So we out here they use that as bricks for house building, but there wasn't really like enough of that with the grazing and stuff to use for burning as well. And we don't get that much rain here compared to, in Ireland, it rains every day, I guess. I mean, we've been there, but it rains a lot. So
it does.
Yeah. Oh God, please don't. Yeah, I think it was actually for the cooking. It was for the baking. But even then, I mean, there's some things like you can use for pioneering for homesteading. You can use human manure for some things, and watch out because the states are trying to pass things right now for all this Green New Deal stuff or green, the climate change stuff. And if you don't, oh, hello, Artisan Bard, howdy. They're trying to they're trying to regulate the dickens out of us. Human manure is actually good for some things. It's good for like fruit trees and stuff. You can use that for fruit trees. You don't want to use it in your garden. You can end up with E. coli. But anything with bark, the trees, it's good for. That's okay. So, we don't want them to regulate us out of being able to use human manure whenever they're trying to say that that's bad for everything. It's not bad for everything. People just need to be educated on what it is good for and what it is not good for, and where it is good and where it is not. Because you get into a highly populated area in a city and people try to start, using human manure in ways that they shouldn't, and they're not properly composting it or something, you can end up with typhoid and things like that. So we need to be teaching common sense, not regulating the dickens out of everybody, So
Wow.
Ezekiel brought us there, okay? Ezekiel brought us.
Ezekiel says,
we are
common sense.
We are going to blame Ezekiel.
But isn't it great? I love that though, because it's like, okay, this actually is causing us to look into things. I mean, like, it naturally does, because I had heard about using dung, but I didn't know, I don't know the difference. But because I've got my nursing school background, that's like, no, you don't touch it at all. It's bad for everything.
Yeah,
and you've got the naturalists over here saying, no, use it. And it's like, well, which one is true? And so you have to dig.
Dung is basically grass. It's recycled grass. Okay, they've got 3 stomachs. So by the time it comes out, it's fine to use in place of firewood. Yeah. So that's what he would have been talking about. And we think, oh my goodness, he was doing this strange, crazy thing. But at the same time, they were building their cities out of bricks. So brick was available. And we don't tend to think about that. We're thinking that these people just had chisels. They were Stone Age and they wore robes and sandals for, you guys know how I do. We wore robes and sandals for thousands and thousands of years, and all of a sudden invented buttons and buckles. Okay, I will say it again.
Not the case.
No. So it just knowing and talking to different people about this and getting their input on it and find out what have you been to it? Yes, Artisan Bard has been to the cow chip. And
Oh, cool.
I was telling everybody that Emmie is going to be coming to visit this fall, but I think she's going to miss it because they do it at the same time now as the county fair, and they used to do it at a different time. But yeah, anyway. Yes, the cow python contest. So cow chips, yes, it was normal for them to be used for. So if you were in a part of Israel that didn't have a lot of trees, then it would have been normal to use the cow pies as your fuel source.
Yeah. Something else I thought about too, because you pointed out that he got to question God, and then you notice how God changed it because he was like, I'm following your laws. I'm doing what you have told me to do. Like, please don't ask me to do this when you've told us that I need to do this over here.
Yeah.
And God was like, I'm going to provide that for you.
Yes, and he didn't throw out everything. So that's where young people today who are trying to deconstruct need to be given permission. I mean, not that they need permission to do whatever it is they're going to do, but it does help if you say, yes, it's okay to question God. Because look, Ezekiel questioned God.
He did.
And not only did God answer him, he also gave him an alternative.
Yep.
So if there's something that, somebody is telling you God wants you to do that you don't feel so inclined to do, question God about it.
Yes.
Dig into the Bible, question God about it, and, it's okay to do that. And that's what young people need today because the churches have told them it's not okay to question.
Mm-hmm.
And there it is in the scripture right there.
Yeah.
It's okay to question God.
Yeah.
So
he can handle our questions.
Yeah. I mean, it's okay to get mad at God. I mean, look at all of the Psalms and David.
Oh, yeah.
Crying out. And if you ever get depressed, go to the Psalms. Because David put himself into more of those situations than not. So, when you get yourself into a bad situation, which we usually do, then, go back to the Psalms and see how David questioned God. He yelled at God. He cried out to God. But in the end, he always went back to, but I'm going to praise you anyway.
Yes. And I think that's the key that we've got to remember is it's like, yes, have it out with God. He can take it. He can handle it, but don't forget to praise in the process. I think that's so much of we forget that that's part of the relationship. I mean, anybody that we love, we're going to have it out with at least once, right? Or disagree staunchly about something. We may not have like a knockout drag out, but we're going to, we may just be like, I'm over here and I'm over here and okay. And then we just like, you know what? It's okay. We still love each other. We can agree to disagree on that. And we're going to love each other anyway.
Well, and so, yeah, it's like the footprints in the sand thing.
Yeah.
Whenever I look back and I see the footprints in the sand and, the poem goes, there were 2 footprints and then sometimes there were only one. And it was like, where were you, Lord? Well, whenever I look back, there's going to be like drag marks.
Oh my goodness. Yes. You know what though? Okay, so this just made me think of something that I sent you a message about this morning because I was reading about where God was telling Israel in Deuteronomy, basically to obey with joyfulness. And then when they don't do that, they're going to end up with problems because they're not going to want to obey, basically, and they're going to cause issues. And I'm sitting here thinking, if God told me this, I don't worry about it. But it's like, okay, well, there are times when he asks us to do things that are very difficult and challenging like this. And God and praise him in order to get through this. Even though we don't see him like verbally praising, he had to have that supernatural strength.
Well, it's our attitude. We were having this discussion the other day about homemaking.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think it was in my Telegram group that we were having the discussion about homemaking, and our attitude about homemaking. That's 95%.
Yeah.
If it's and that's about anything that we do, our job, whatever. It's 90% our attitude in the first place. So if you have a bad attitude going into it, like I hate Mondays type of an attitude, then Mondays are never going to be good for you, right? But if you go into it, the interruptions, we've got a friend that calls, those constant interruptions, divine interruptions, divine interventions. If you can look at it that way, instead of, oh my goodness, I've got unexpected company and now I can't do what I had planned for the day. If we could look at it as a divine interruption, that God has decided that there was somebody else that we need to, using gloves is the wimpy way, Samantha. Okay, they're having this whole conversation about it is a cow chip throwing contest. They're dry, okay? Because once the cows, they plop it down and it makes it like this round disc, okay? So it's like a Frisbee, okay? And it dries out that way. So it's like this dry Frisbee of cow poo. And using gloves is the, you do it barehanded. That's right. You could use gloves if you wanted to, but whenever you go to throw it, your glove's going to go too. So, and really, but no, everybody's going to tease you if you're using a glove, because that's part of the thing. You just some people don't understand the Great Plague. So I've got an artisan bard giggling at us now.
Who? Those of us city folk don't get it, okay?
We will go. Your children will have so much fun. Oh my goodness. We will have to get video of collecting cow pies with them.
Yes, my boys will love it. Actually, probably my middle daughter will enjoy it too.
Interesting. I'm staying in the suburbs. I did a video. It doesn't occur to me, and I have to apologize here. It does not occur to me that I did a video on TikTok recently, and it was, wheat harvest, and the harvesters were going through, and I said, if you bake your own bread and grind your own wheat, this is a good time to take a couple of 5-gallon buckets. 2 5-gallon buckets is a bushel. So you take about anyway, and you go to the harvesters and you can ask the farmer that owns the land, did you spray your wheat? And if they didn't spray it, then can I have a couple of 5-gallon buckets? It didn't occur to me that they're sitting here thinking they're going to have to figure out how to take the wheat out of the shaft and everything. No, the combines do that for you. That's why the harvesters are there. So the combine goes through and the combine separates the grain for you. And as they're putting it into the big truck to take it to the elevator, that's nice, clean wheat that's just been threshed and separated. It never, because I've just grown up around it. I've known this all of my life, so somebody who's been in the city all their lives and never seen this, they don't understand that. And I'm like, yeah, and you can just get up there on the side of the truck and you just scoop out your 5-gallon bucket of wheat. And voila, you have about a year's worth of wheat. And it's only $7 a bushel right now. So you can get 2 5-gallon buckets of wheat. Will that last a normal family most of the year, and for $7, and there's your bread. So anyway, I don't laugh at you. I laugh with you, because there's some silly things. that I promise you I do not understand. I still have problems with escalators. I don't like elevators. Things that you guys take for granted that are totally normal for you, I will rig out at. I am not kidding. I will stand at the escalator for a good 10 minutes before I will get my foot on that stupid thing because I just know it's going to suck me up.
I actually do that too.
Okay.
I don't like it. I actually was talking about that with my children yesterday. They said something about the escalator and like someone not going up, and I was like, I hate them. I will go out of my way to find an elevator or walk up the stairs. So
yeah.
I don't like escalators.
Yeah, I mean, they're everywhere. I don't go to the city very often, and Oklahoma City is not, it's big, but it's not like a city.
It's
and
not
I
Atlanta.
don't usually go into the bigger building. I stay on the outskirts. I avoid the big stuff, So if I do have to actually go to something, it's like somebody's got to stop and explain things to me because I'm going to stand out on the curb and I'm going to talk to the homeless people and I'm going to have me a conversation rather than going in there and trying to figure out how to navigate some of those places. So, yeah. The ghost. I don't blame you. I get it, Samantha. I do. We've got the cutest little goats right now. If you get into the community, we've been posting pictures. We've got mini, what are they? I can't remember what they are, but they're little mini goats and they're having little mini babies. And those little babies are just they're tiny. They're so cute. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So we're trying
I don't know anything about goats either. My children want some, but
we should have some milking whenever you guys come to visit. So yeah.
Yeah, we have so many things to learn.
We're hoping to get them moved out here, guys. So be praying if it is God's will for the Manor Manor to move out west. So. We will see.
Yeah, we will see.
Well, I think probably as many bunny trails and offshots and the whole prairie cooking lesson here. I think 3 chapters is as much as we should do this time.
Yeah, I think we're good. But I love this. So I love this because it's like totally the point of why I keep telling people to study the Bible, because it teaches you so much and it applies to all of life. And
it does. You can learn to cook from the Bible. You can learn about bread from the Bible. You can learn about different grains. There's just so much there. And and that's why it's good for us to do the Bible studies together, because we, the different perspectives that we have help, definitely. Yeah. If we think about what he was having to do, I'm sitting here thinking he's a country boy, Ezekiel, and he's being told to go to the city and build this little thing and cook his dinner on cow pies. And all the city people are like, what are you doing? Yeah, I'm relating to Ezekiel right now. Yeah. Because it would be me that God would like pick up and show me all the stuff and say, hey, it really isn't a UFO, even though it's unidentified. It's mine, so now it's identified.
It's so funny because I and like you said, different perspectives, because I don't see it like that at all. I'm like, well, he may have had a house in the suburbs and he's having to go into the city, but he somehow knows how to make a wall and a rampart. I'm like, how does he know how to do that? I think that's what it said. I don't know.
Yeah, I think we need a whole homeschool lesson with this and see what the children and say, okay, this is what he was told to do, and see what the children would actually do with some materials.
That would be a lot of fun. And even because I don't know if any of y'all are familiar with Ezekiel bread, but this is where they get their mixture from.
Mm.
But yeah, I'm like, oh, well, I haven't tried Azure yet, but maybe I need to do that and order all those things. And
I like Ezekiel bread. I actually do. It is a thicker, a denser bread.
yes,
But I do. I like Ezekiel bread. I like the hamburger buns.
they have hamburger buns.
They have hamburger buns, yes. And I really like them. I like them toasted. Yep. Mm-hmm. And it's usually something that none of the rest of my family will eat, so I like get it all to myself, which I like. Oh my goodness.
Oh, so fun. Okay.
Yeah, we should. I think the pseudo history is a bot. Just some of the things that have been in. It's got a weird link thing. Do you see that?
I can't see the comments at all.
Can you not see the comments at all? You have to go to comments instead of private chat on the side.
Oh, is that what I have to do?
Uh-huh. Can you see them? There they are.
Now I know.
He says he's not a bot. I don't know. Some of the things that you're posting are a little odd. Are you smoking something that isn't legal in all 50 states? I'm just not sure. Wonder if the bread would taste like steak or grass. You know, I don't know if I've ever actually barbecued with cow pies. I don't think I actually have. Because people have planted a bunch of trees out here, and every time the wind blows, which it blows in Oklahoma a lot, there are branches that fall down that we can use for barbecue. So, yeah. Okay. Well, that's a weird one. I don't think it would have a taste. I mean, it's not going to taste like hickory smoked, or something, but I don't think it would change the taste because they just eat grass, Yeah, I don't know where you got that. So, okay. Well, we have had fun.
We have.
And I appreciate y'all. And this has been an interesting conversation. I wasn't expecting to go into a whole prairie cooking plan. You guys go visit. How do people in Oklahoma City compare to the country folk? Oklahoma City has a lot of different kinds of people there. A lot of different kinds of people there. So there's some that we can relate really easily with, and there's some that you want to keep your distance from. So I usually call one of my city friends and ask where is safe before I go. And because Oklahoma City is really sprawled out. You ought to look at it on the Google Maps or Google Earth and look at all that there is there. It's interesting, but there's a lot of people that like racehorses and it is still pretty agricultural, but then there's a lot of people that don't do agriculture. So it's probably similar to other cities. I don't know. Let's see. Was there anything else? Oh, the magazine. If anybody makes it this
the magazine.
Yes, if anybody makes it this far, the articles are due Monday. So if you have something, if you write, and you would like to submit an article, then let me know. My contact information is in my channel stuff. And if you haven't subscribed to the Prairie Dust Trail magazine, we go into it's biblically based sustainable living. And that's for people in the cities and out and all over the world. It's international. So, and the next one's coming out July 30th. So if you subscribe between now spring magazine and the summer magazine. 2 for the price of 1. Yay. So, and if you haven't joined the community, then I did show that. If you need to watch the replay, how to get there, it's also in my information on my YouTube channel. So, and be watching for Emmys. She's going to be publishing her community here pretty soon too, for any mommies of many or future mommies and families trying to learn how to start doing Bible study.
Yep. We're all about the Bible study. Starting from newlyweds all the way to empty nests. So. Yep.
Okay. Well, I think that's all we've got.
All right.
Well, we will see you all hopefully next week. Hopefully we can get this done every week and get through Ezekiel in less than a year. Bye.
Bye.